Well, this is long overdue. I haven't really done a Slippy J Sunday in quite some time. And these guys have actually had for quite a while. This one was one of, not the first, but one of the first TwoSuns that I ever picked up. This guy is the TS252. This is the original guys here with the Snakewood handle scales there, which looks all sorts of nice and speckled and everything like that. Snakewood is a really, really good stable wood. Really strong, not quite as much as like desert ironwood, but still really, really close in that pack. And so that really makes it an attractive and really functional kind of finishing wood or something like that for a lot of decorative purposes, but of course, also knives and stuff like that. So these guys have a brass bolster here, and yeah, you can see this has had a little bit of pocket time, but well, this guy has as well. However, yeah, they do not come fully nice and polished up and everything like that. They do just have some scuffs on them. That's just kind of the nature of the beast there, a little bit. So if that's something you're looking for, yeah, these guys definitely aren't it. Um, so as far as Damascus steel goes, because that's what these guys are made in, this was what they were using quite a while back. And yeah, you can see kind of off center or whatever. It looks a little purple and greenish kind of thing, especially like in these center dot areas and stuff like that. A bit of a different look to it, but yeah, they are laminated layers on top of a base steel. What is that base steel? As far as I can tell from a lot of my cut tests and stuff like that, it's most likely going to be 9CR or something like that. Um, I haven't really had any kind of issues with rust, so I really don't think that it's going to be a carbon steel for the core or anything like that. These guys, the plunge grind on them is pretty meh. So you can see I have put a little bit of a smile there. I didn't do that on the other side. This wasn't. This was mostly done from me not paying attention when I'm trying to sharpen on my belt system, rather than this being something that was done with any of the fixed angle systems or something like that. But still, this being what I assume to be a 9CR based Damascus steel, so it's fairly attractive. These guys have a lazy half stop. So there you go. There, they got a lanyard tube in brass, and this would be, I suppose, a little bit of a spoiler, but they do have a bit of leather with a little brass bead that most of them come with. I take them off because I think the leather is really stiff and kind of obnoxious more than anything else. So there's that. Steel liners on the inside here, and of course steel back spring, as would be about the only thing that makes sense. These guys traditionally put together, so they are pinned. That also means, not that it really matters to anybody because they're not going to be disassembling these things, but the scales are held in with epoxy of some sort. And something that I have noticed on this guy, this one's a much newer sample. Different handle material. This is Oxhorn. This is how you kind of want a lot of Oxhorn to end up looking. However, that's how most of it ends up actually looking, where you don't have the bark. You have mostly the inner portions, and that usually has like a green tint to it or something like that. But as we can see here, this guy is coming up just a little bit. So at some point, I do need to try to get just a itty bitty little amount of adhesive back down in there to hold it in place or something like that. Of course, these guys since they kind of have a bit of a grain pattern and stuff like that, can have a little bit more of these stresses in here that might try to pull it away. And of course, differences in humidity and stuff like that can also accelerate that. Not something you're going to have to worry about with the Snakewood one. So these guys are really nice and stable. So there's that. Okay, so this one is a much newer sample, and we can see the blade looks very, very different. For one, the layers on this are very, very much tactile experience. This just feels like any standard steel, like most of the different layered amounts of Damascus stuff that I don't know, Civivi does from time to time, and a lot of kitchen knives like Shun and stuff like that do basically that same sort of thing. This is a little bit different here. Like I said, it's much more tactile. You can like rub your fingernail across it or any of that, and it feels different. And we can see that it actually has kind of like these off-center parallel kind of lines going on with it. Still, it's going to be the same core steel going on here, and technically this thing should have a little bit easier time for you to, easier way for you to see the core steel. However, this one here has been kind of a ground down and blended, but that's not the case for all of them like this. You know, a little bit of another allusion to next week sort of thing here. So these things, as we can look down in there, they do have a pen in there that's supposed to help, mitigate any kind of blade wrap, as you would call it. If you're not familiar, that's basically when you're closing a knife and the knife hits something internally and causes a ding on the blade or something like that. This original one here in the Snakewood just straight up doesn't have it. And we can see a bit of kind of damage to that brass tube there. You can end up doing some blade wrapping on this, which is why generally for that after that half stop, I will help it closed to avoid that. They did do a decent enough job by ending up putting that pin in there. It's still technically possible for this thing to have a little bit of blade wrap, but you do have to actively seek it out. It's not something that's just going to unfortunately sporadically happen. But there we go. Let's go ahead and do some measurements here. I don't have them written out, but I can easily throw these things on a scale here. I'm on ounces here. So 2.74 ounces for the Snakewood one. 2.725 ounces for the Oxhorn. And then for the grams, we got just under 78 for the Snakewood. And just over 77 for that guy there. See, blade stock thickness on these guys. Still for a slip joint, a little bit thicker. That is basically 2.6 millimeters for that there. And let's go for the blade length here. Make sure I'm actually zeroed out. That would help. And there we go. We got basically 2.83 inches. So, well under 3 inches. And because of that extra area there where that, at least on the newer one, the pen actually sits, you can choke up pretty darn far on these guys. I do like the blade shape quite a bit. They do come down nice and thin behind the edge, like most newer TwoSun models do. A lot of the older ones were a little bit more axe-like, especially like the TS16 and stuff like that. But those weren't slip joints. But they are a gorgeous little addition to the TwoSun catalog there. I do like them. That's why, even though this one does have problems, I ended up picking up another one when they started offering them in Oxhorn there. Like I have said, most of their Oxhorn is going to kind of be this weird jadish green kind of looking stuff there. And as I had also mentioned, because of the adhesive being used and the different stresses that might or might not be in play on your particular little scale there, you could have just a little tiny bit of delamination over time. This guy's probably a year and a half or 2 years old at this point, and this one's, probably closer to 4 at this point. So, yeah, there you go. Pretty short little video, but yeah. How about if I do a couple of blade size comparisons? I suppose that might help a little bit. There we go. We got a Range Buster Junior kind of a size there. Very, very similar. Sure. We also got the Real Steel Luna, because that one's very, very popular as far as a modern one. So there we go there. And then one that I always just really enjoy pulling out, the Cold Steel Lucky one, a little carbon fiber and S35 VN guy there. And it's bigger than that, so there you go. Yeah, that's TS252. Like I said, it comes in a couple of different options for handle scales between Snakewood and Oxhorn. I think that's it at this particular point. I could be wrong, and there could have been another one out there, but I'm not familiar with it. So there we go. I don't really have a whole lot else to really go over here, so I'll just leave it at that and let you get back on with your Sunday. So, as always, I appreciate y'all for watching, and have yourself a wonderful rest of your day, yo. Subscribe, please.